Racing Podcast is the ultimate ride where the rubber meets the road and the spots fly wide. From wrecks and wins to what's going online, we cover it all every moment in time. Fights in the pits or a hero's last stand. If it happened at the track, you'll hear it firsthand. Tune in and buckle up tight, cause the Bench Racing Podcast is your fun night.
Thank you for tuning into the Bench Racing Podcast, presented by Beth Szerzinski, Michael Olson, and myself, Derek Crane, where the talk is fast, the drama is real, and it's all about the local racing. Proudly sponsored by North Central Emergency Services, Dirtex Industries, and Sprecher's Root Beers. So start your engine, boys and girls. It's showtime, and actually we are down Beth. Beth had something come up, but we have a driver, Jake Dewitt. Thank you, Jake, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So we are going to do something a little different tonight. We're going to have a driver interview for our main topic. Wilmot Wilmot, because all the other tracks in Wisconsin were racing, which we'll get to that here in a second. We're off, so we don't really have any Wilmot news to talk about. So perfect time to get Jake in here. But we'll start it off with how was your guys' weekend? Did you guys race? Did you guys go watch? How was it?
I currently am residing in Billings, Montana, and so out here is the ASCS Frontier region, which is the Wing 360s, as you guys understand. So I have a buddy, Christian Kinnison, driving the 00. We went and hit Belgrade, Montana on Friday night at Gallatin Speedway. And then he had prior commitments to a graduation Saturday, so we didn't make it out to Great Falls and Electric City, but ended up with a 9th place finish. So overall, not bad. He aims for a top 10 every time he goes out, and we were able to kind of capitalize on some things that happened. And overall, not a bad weekend. Car came home in one piece. So
nice, awesome. Michael, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, obviously we didn't race. We wavered away from running the outlaw and high limit stuff this weekend. Just take a weekend off, kind of regroup.
Nice.
You got to do that sometimes. You know, you start running every weekend and you get wore out and you just need a break. So we didn't run anything this weekend. We did go watch a Beaver Dam on Saturday. And I will say that is probably the most badass I have ever seen that racing surface. That was a show. If you didn't make it to that one in person, and it is indeed their last one, I feel bad for you, because that was a hell of a race. The B main was insane. But then did some golfing on Sunday, and now we're here.
Nice. Yeah, we are recording a day early too because of my schedule conflict. So sorry about that. So today feels like Tuesday, but it's Monday. It's crazy. Friday, I went to Plymouth to celebrate Maddie's 21st birthday, and I think she was planning on doing the full World of Outlaw weekend tracks. So went to Plymouth, standing room only. I was like crazy, $55 for the combo, and it was just packed. I'm glad the person next to me didn't show up, because we could actually spread a little bit out. We weren't on top of each other. But yeah, watched Plymouth. It was awesome. Upset that Kyle Larson's axle broke, because but yeah, it was a bad flip. It was pretty good. And then Saturday went to Wilmot for the tractor pull, and let me tell you, that was an experience. I have never been to a tractor pull before. Neither has Ashley, obviously Landon. Her family, because it was her brother's birthday, wanted to do it, so they've never been. And it was crazy. Like, we show up right at 6, and they're like, oh yeah, these tractors are going to be pulling this sled, and they have a speed limit of 9 miles an hour. You can't go over. And I was like, oh no. I literally have one that I sent you in the bench racing thread. Like, Beth, you'd hate this, because like that was like watching paint dry. Luckily, that wasn't it. They had the big boys show up, not the 4-engine stuff, but Their trucks were ripping. Sounded like late models. Really, that was pretty good. But yeah, did that. Watch the Combine Derby. That was very anticlimactic ending to that, and because it was just two guys trying to start it, and whoever could move won. And we just sat there for like it was probably a minute, but it literally felt like 10 minutes. It was like, okay, all right. And then yeah, yesterday stuff around the house, and now we're here. So off weekends always feel weird, especially kind of like right after that first few weeks of racing, and then you have an off weekend. It's just kind of it just feels weird. So yeah, all right. So now we're gonna get into the starter fluid conversation here. Who is your favorite driver and why? And it can be pro, it can be amateur. I got some drivers that I like, and I'm gonna have to narrow down here as we go. But we'll start off with our guest, Jake. Jake, who is your favorite driver?
Well, I don't know that I necessarily have a favorite sprint car driver right now. I think the talent on the national circuit is just kind of outstanding this year. Personally, I think it's the best it's ever been. As far as an amateur goes, I've been following Caleb Montgomery out of California pretty closely the last year or so. And it's been really cool to kind of watch his YouTube channel, kind of see some of the behind the scenes stuff of kind of a family operated unit, and see kind of what it takes to run, with the California boys on a weekly basis. And he runs the Sprint Car Challenge Tour, the 360, and he does the NARC Tour with the 410s, and then he does some of the Ultimate Sprint Car Challenge and USAC CRA 410 stuff. So it's kind of cool to watch his videos and be able to get a different perspective. Like there's a lot of guys out there that do content, but he kind of gets in depth on his in-car views and kind of explains, step by step what's going through his mind and what's happening with the car as the heat race or the feature kind of progresses. So I'd say right now, if I had to pick a favorite amateur, would probably be Caleb Montgomery. Plus, he's got, I think, 2 top 5s with high limit in California.
Yep.
So as far as kind of a smaller operation, not a bunch of sponsor backing, but to be able to kind of put it in the top 5 with some of the best in the country, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, his vlogs, if you guys don't know about it, check it out. I think it is Caleb Montgomery, right? Is his vlog, his channel?
I believe so. Yeah, just Caleb Montgomery.
Yeah, and his vlog style is very different. If you're used to like a T-Mez kind of vlog style, it's really just, it literally looks like he just uploads the videos that he took and he just puts it in order how the night went and then trims them down so you're not watching an hour and a half of him in the pits. But it's just very raw. And I do like how he goes into detail about not necessarily what the car is doing, but why he put the car there or why he's doing something. And it's really fascinating. I've been watching him for a year, maybe just over a year, and stuff. So yeah, do you have you said pros kind of really just there's too many to pick from?
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys I don't like that are pros, which is not necessarily a popular opinion. But
let's hear those ones.
Well, I'd have to say the top 2 would be Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet.
Brad Sweet's at the top of my hate list.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily that they're, I've never been able to meet him or interact or anything. It's just for me with the Kyle Larson, it's not fun as a viewer to watch Kyle Larson show up and then dominate everybody. It's cool when you kind of see like, a Renz win or somebody else, or even I don't mind watching Rico win all the time. Now I think it's 8 in the last 16 races is him. But I think it's just the hype and everything. I didn't really get into dirt racing when Brian Clausen was still around. But I feel like everything that Kyle Larson's doing, Clausen had already started and was in the process of doing it. And I feel like he could have been at the step that Larson is now. But Brad Sweet, I don't know. He's got a really annoying voice, if I'm being honest. And
Okay, I was going to ask you what rubs you the wrong way about Brad Sweet. So it's more the voice and how he carries himself, or
yeah, well, that and just right rearing McFadden every weekend kind of gets old too. But um,
I
no,
just
I
had a
just
vision of one.
I don't take any credit away from either of them. I think they're both very talented drivers. Obviously, Larson has multiple disciplines under his belt and a lot of career highlights, especially in a sprint car. And obviously, Brad is a six-time consecutive national sprint car champion. 5 with the Outlaws and 1 with High Limit. So you can't take anything away from those guys. They're good at what they do. I personally don't like them. But as far as like a pro driver, I guess I haven't really got a chance to know him personally, but I've been following him for a little bit. Uh, Kyler Johnson, the 45X out of Quinter, Kansas, runs ASCS National.
Okay,
Um, I I guess I'd probably pick him as my favorite pro driver.
nice.
He doesn't always have the best nights, but when he's kind of on his game, he's pretty good, and it's kind of fun to just see how he does. He could have a few bad nights and he can kind of rebound and maybe get a top 5 or something. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting to hang out and talk with him a little bit when they come out here in August for our big 15,000 to win Harvey Ostermiller race with the ASCS National.
Nice. Yeah, you guys have a lot of more like 360 national sprint car stuff up in your area, right? In Montana.
We used to. The national tour would come by every year, and then the Outlaws would hit us. I don't know exactly what kind of stopped that from happening for a few years. But last year was the first year ASCS National was back for the Austin Miller, and the Outlaws have not been here since 2020, I think, or 2019, something like that.
Okay.
But with the Frontier region being here, we get an okay car count. I'd say we average maybe 13 to 14 cars, depending on if who we pull from different states. There's a couple Canadians that run with us, including the defending and 2-time champion Kelly Miller.
Okay.
And then you have some of I call them local guys, but like there's Trevor Kirkland out of Helena. You have Phil Dietz and Billings, or Laurel, I think it is. You have Damon McCune. You have Christian Kinnison, Rich Bailey, who's another Californian that lives in Helena. So there's a lot of cars. It just kind of depends on the weekend and what we can get as far as a draw. With Skagit being kind of close to us, if they're running a show, it's a little harder with them. I think having a bit bigger payout.
Yeah.
But we do okay. When they split the region, I think it was 4 years ago now, because now there's the Northern Plains region down in Wyoming and South Dakota kind of deal. It really tore the car count apart. And so those guys, I think, average less than we do. Like they ran Sweetwater in Wyoming on Friday night, and I think they had 11 cars, and we had 14 in Belgrade.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Nice.
typically out here is more modifieds and late models. We have all kinds of different sanctioning bodies. Obviously, ASCS for the wing cars, and then we have IMCA for, we call them the sport compacts, the 4-wheel drive or front wheel drive 4 cylinders, and then the A mods, and then WSOTA is the sanctioning body for the late models and the B mods out here. So typically those guys get better car count than anything.
Okay. Cool. All right, Michael, who is your favorite pro, amateur driver, and why?
Okay, so I'm going to I couldn't narrow my list down, so I have to
Me
keep
too.
this as short-winded as possible. Um, I'll start with my pros.
Okay.
No, I'll start with my local / pros. So I have a couple guys that that are considered pro. They race with pro national tours. Obviously Bill Baylog.
Yep.
We've been Baylog fans in Wisconsin since he won 10 IRA championships, and now that he's on a national tour, just the love for him kind of progressed even more. I'm a very big Zach Dom fan.
Yes.
I've
That's a good
been
one.
a Zach Dom fan for as long as I can remember. And then locally, this is gonna sound bandwagonish now, but for everybody listening, we were supposed to do this segment last week. Then the episode took too long. Travis
Yeah.
Aarons is my favorite local driver. I raced fender cars with Travis. Me and him used to get absolutely obliterated in the bar at 141 after racing, and had this slightly not straight dance that we would do after enough beers entered our system. But Travis is a good guy. Then on the pro level, sprint car wise and NASCAR wise, I'm a huge Alex Bowman fan. Alex Bowman is, I don't know. I developed a love for him when he was still running asphalt midgets and stuff like that. And I just kind of followed him into the K&N ranks, and then ARCA, and then Nationwide and Cup. And I've always been a huge Alex Bowman fan, and I hate that he doesn't run sprint cars anymore now since he broke his back a couple years ago. But kind of countering off of what Jake said, I'm a big Tanner Holmes fan. I love his vlog. I like Tanner Holmes a lot. And then the two that I would say are the top of my list on sprint car and late model. Late models is Tyler Erb, big Tyler Erb fan here. And then sprint cars is Corey Day. I am huge on Corey Day. I've been a fan of Corey Day for, since he was, he's still really young, obviously, but I'd say since he was like 13, 14, he was just kind of getting into it. I've kind of followed Corey Day, and to see what he's doing is pretty remarkable or unremarkable. I think personally, I think Kyle Larson is the most talented race car driver of our generation, all around. I think the fact that he can get in any car and run the way he does is insane. When it comes, I think Kyle Busch of our generation is the most talented asphalt race car driver. But I think Kyle Larson is the most talented all-around driver, and I think Corey Day is going to be the one that can give Kyle Larson a run for his money.
Dethrone Larson, because Larson's already mentioned Day that he's like the next up and coming.
Yeah, Kyle Larson told Jeff Gordon, he's like, you got to come watch this kid. And Jeff Gordon's like, is he good? And Kyle Larson goes, he's better than me.
Yeah, he is really good. And I wonder how that makes was it Buddy Kofoid who was supposed to give like Kyle the run for his money a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think Buddy was on that track, and I think Buddy is a very talented dirt driver too. Obviously, he's never ventured. I think he's ran a couple like asphalt late model races. But he never really ventured in the asphalt world. But I think Buddy's extremely talented too. I mean, obviously Roth Motorsports is a top of the line team, but Roth Motorsports isn't Gravel's team, big game or JJR. I think you put Buddy in a big game motorsports car, and he's going to win just as much, if not more, than Gravel.
Yeah. Yep. Who do you not like? Since Jake brought that up, we're all gonna sit on the hot seat here. Okay, so Jake just doesn't. I don't get messages for Jake like, hey, how come he said it? No one else did. So, who do you not like, professionally, locally?
I don't like the Ginger Kitty, Brad Sweet.
Ginger Kitty.
Unpopular opinion, I am not a David Gravel fan anymore. I used to be. I love his fan interaction. I love that he will sit and talk to almost anybody after a race, or last year for the Outlaw Show, me, Dan Wade, and Tyler, we went up to Riverside right in town there in Wilmot to get lunch while we were waiting, and Gravel came walking in, and he called and placed an order. He sat down right next to us, and he just sat there. We didn't conversate with him or anything, but he just sat there like He was just a local in the town, and then we kind of exchanged some words at the end, and we rode 3 wide in Wade's mule up there, and Gravel goes, well, if you guys don't want to go 3 wide, I think one of you guys can ride with me if you want. And we were all just kind of like we didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a huge gravel fan. Definitely not even in the top 5 of the drivers I don't like. Brad Sweet is probably at the top of the list. I really do not like Brad Sweet for some reason. I used to hate Aaron Reitzel. Like, I don't know what it was, but something about Aaron Reitzel just pissed me off. And then we were all watching a high limit race one night, and I thought his car was so plain. Like, it was black and had a red stripe through it. And Garrett or somebody goes, oh, that car is hot. I was like, what? Like, that's like the ugliest car on tour. And then he brings out this new car this year. I'm like, maybe I didn't like Aaron Reitzel because of his car, because I kind of like Aaron Reitzel now.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people not liking cars because of the number,
Mhm.
right? So, okay. So Michael, you need to go to Ralph Johnson and ask him what Tim Cox told him about Aaron Reitzel.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that gonna be juicy or?
It's gonna blow your mind.
Really?
Yes. It's
All
gonna be
right.
funny too. It's gonna be funny too.
I'll ask him.
All right. So for mine, I mean, I gotta talk myself down because I had a list too. Kind of more like you, Michael, where I got professional, then like the local guys that are professional, and then our Wilmot guys. I mean, for one, my favorite pro driver is Kyle Larson, just because he is what you said. He's really talented. And I was like, who was the last guy that was this talented? And the one that can come to mind is Mario Andretti. Because like he drove Formula One, won a world championship, won the Daytona 500, won Indy 500, or always ran really far up front. And like he jumped into anything and ran up front. Kyle Larson's doing the same thing with sprint car, late model, modified, NASCAR, IndyCar, unless he spins out on the restart by spinning the tires with a 600 horsepower car. He's used to 900 horsepower, but whatever. But I do think he's better than Stewart and Gordon. Formula One, love Formula One. Oscar Piastri is my favorite Formula One driver. He's a cold-blooded winning machine. If you're not familiar with him, like he'll win and he'll just be like, "Yep, that was fun." It's like the coolest, most like non-emotional person. And right now he's leading the world championship, so pretty good. Sprint car wise, like the actual real sprint car wise, Briggs Danner is my favorite USAC driver.
Ooh, I like Briggs Danner.
He's just really calm, cool. He jumps into a lot of different things. For IRA guys, Blake Nemi, Logan Julian are my 2 top guys. Travis Aarons, I wouldn't say I was more neutral on him, but obviously winning 26K at 141 and beating the high limits is obviously going to push you up my list, because that's just cool that a local guy did that. But then also the race, like I love racing. I loved racing Sivia. There you go. Because of his driving style, like you almost felt like he was gonna just trash you, so you had to drive harder than him. Tim Cox, legend. Love racing him. But I think my favorite guy to race with right now, Tyler Cuxhouse. And that all stems back from that September race last year.
That was a badass race.
Yeah, it was. That was the only race I was okay finishing second. Let's just say that. Bandivere, another good one. And then for my local guys, CJ Malig is one of my favorite drivers. Tiny Horse. Dude, I mean, those two, like, they're the same people, same personality, same family base, same crew members. It's just one's driving a wing sprint car and the other one's driving a bandit. Like, they're just really good people to hang out with. So those are my favorite drivers, pro and amateur. And then for my hot seat, I'm not going to say who I don't like racing with locally. I think everybody. Well, I've dropped enough subtle hints. I think people know who I'm talking about. But I don't like gravel. It's talented driver, but just rubs me the wrong way. I feel like
Egomaniac.
I just can't cheer for him. And then Blue in the USAC, like I can respect him, but he's just rubs me the wrong way. Talented driver, love watching him, just would never want to race him. Let's just say that. All right, so those are our favorite drivers. Comment in the comment section wherever you're listening to this podcast from. Love to hear who your favorite driver is, pro and amateur, whether that's Wilmot, Volusia, Silver Dollar, wherever your local track is. Love to give your driver some love there. We're going to take an ad break, and on the other side, we are going to be doing our Jake Dewitt interview. What up, Crane Gang? Just wanted to tell you a little bit about our partner, DirtX Industries. So we've teamed up with DirtX Industries for the upcoming season, and we can't wait to run their products. The best part is that all my loyal fans and followers can help our team by visiting www.dirtxind.us and subscribe, also giving you a chance to win great prizes as well, receiving discounts on parts and merchandise for only $5 or $10 a month, depending on which subscription you get. There are thousands of dollars in prizes monthly that anyone can win. So help our team and subscribe today. By the way, when you subscribe, type DCR in the coupon box, and this will assist our team and increase sponsorship throughout the year. So any help is greatly appreciated. The more subscriptions we get can generate help for our team up and down the road on a weekly basis. Anyone can subscribe with no limit on subscriptions, and they are starting the US subscriptions here in June. So right now is the best time to subscribe to DirtX Industries. Now back to the show. All right, welcome back to the Bench Racing Podcast. Now, the main attraction, the main feature we're all here for, the Jake Dewitt interview, or as I call it here in my sheet, the Big Papi. So, first question, like, how did you get that nickname?
So, my racing career, I guess, is a little odd compared to some others. I feel like it's a classic, grew up not in a racing family, but my dad raced, and, it was all I ever wanted to do. And I feel like that's a lot of drivers that have come up as born into a racing family or something, and, they had a parent or an uncle or whatever. And so I always knew that I wanted to go racing. And in 2023, received an opportunity of a lifetime to move out here to Billings, Montana to work for a ASCS Frontier team, and also do some touring across the country, hit some national shows, stuff like that. And unfortunately, that deal didn't really work out. We made it a while. We made 20 races or so, but just wasn't the right fit. I did, however, end up buying a car from the guy I was working for. And so I started racing here in Billings, Montana. And my original nickname, which I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it was it was Cupcake.
Cupcake.
And don't ask why, because I don't know. And I wish it was never a thing, because there's a lot of people that still call me that, and it makes me just want to punch them in the face. And it's like, it's not Cupcake, dude. So one night sitting in the stands, I have a pretty good relationship with the track promoter and announcer, Drew Brown, out here. And I had given him a couple shirts to give away to the crowd. And I don't know, for whatever reason, but I was sitting with his wife in the stands, and he's like, well, courtesy of Jake Big Papi Dewitt. And I'm like, Big Papi? And his wife looks at me and she's like, when did that happen? I was like, right now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a small guy. I'm 6 foot. I'm about 330. I don't look like it, but I weigh quite a bit. So I'm a bigger dude, and It's always funny when some people come in after the races or at a car show or whatever, and you get the bigger guys that come through and like, oh, I could never fit in there. And I'm like, oh, you want to bet on that? Because I
Mhm.
guarantee you you'll fit in my car at least. And so I don't know. I haven't really talked to Drew about it, but for whatever reason, it's become Big Poppy, and it's just kind of stuck. It's weird. Some people refer to me that as only Big Poppy, and others, Drew himself, he calls me Dewy.
Dewy.
And others, it's just Jake or, there's some other not so friendly nicknames that I have, but that is it.
We all have them.
Yeah, we all have those, I suppose. But yeah,
Okay.
I wish I had the backing to that because I'd love to know, and I might have to ask him maybe this weekend at the mod tour and be like, hey man, like what's going on? Like what
Yeah.
out of left field, just Big Poppy, because like you got Brandon Overton that's big sexy, and I'm way bigger than he is, and I think I'm pretty sexy myself, but big big Poppy works too, I suppose.
Okay. I mean, hey, I like big out of those three nicknames you got, like Big Poppy is like the most intimidating one. Although it would be funny for someone to show up to work on Monday with a black eye and be like, "Who gave you that?" And they're like, "Cupcake at the racetrack." Oh, okay, okay. Um, so did some research here. You started racing sprint cars in
23.
2023. Okay, all right. Yeah, like I said, it's really hard to find some stats, especially up in the north where you are from. But two feature wins already.
Yeah, so like I
And a
said,
boy.
mine's kind of odd. I went straight to sprint cars with absolutely zero racing experience.
Okay.
Like I said, my dad, growing up, he raced when there were still 70 steel body Camaro street stocks and stuff, and
Mm,
he always wanted to run a late model, and I was just always fascinated by the sprint cars. As a kid, not really know what's going on, just know that they're bad fast, and those guys just don't care. And as I got the opportunity to get my own car and kind of start my own operation. So my first race, which everyone's like, oh, you don't need to give logistics. Well, there was only 3 cars on the track, so I finished third my first race. And, um, it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't necessarily nervous, but the night started off not great. We got to the track and I was missing or my power steering hose was leaking. So I had to run all the way back to the shop and grab that. And I barely made pill draw and everything. And um, when they pushed me off for the heat race, I didn't even know how to start the car because no one went over that with me. So that was pretty cool to get pushed back. And everyone's like, what's going on? I'm like, the gauges aren't working. Like nothing's turned on. They're like, did you start flipping switches? And I was like, no, I was in here just playing with myself. Like, yeah, I was flipping switches, but no one told me an order here.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, because I was gonna say, yeah, you're running a 604 two.
602 wingless. Yep.
602. Okay.
So we the first year the class started, it was 602, 604s, and we all had to run distributors with some sort of battery. So um, we came up. Well, I didn't come up, but my team owner at the time came up with the idea to run a DeWalt battery. So my car runs off of a 20-volt DeWalt impact battery. Um,
Mine was
so I
a
didn't know.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, so I didn't know which was my power and which was ignition, and like I said, nothing was working, but everything got all sorted out. And after the race, I was talking to some people, especially my aforementioned buddy there, Christian Kinnison. Um, he kind of walked up and we were talking a little bit, and I was like, "Well, I thought you'd be a little bit more excited." He's like, "Honestly, man, you've been around this stuff long enough. I would have been kind of pissed off if you didn't do good." And so I've kind of always had a little bit of a different mentality approach to racing. Like even when I got my first win in September last year, um, it was cool, but I felt like I had been at that kind of point as a driver, which is arrogant to say, and people might give me backlash for it, but whatever, it is what it is. And it was kind of like I felt like I should have been at that point already and should have already won a couple races. So like it was still cool and it was a big night, but it was kind of whatever, and I moved on to the next race. And so yeah, I have 2 wins and 20 starts. The first one being last September, and the second one being our season opener, May 16th of this year here at Big Sky Speedway.
Nice. Yeah, saw that.
But
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. But I said that first one was a little bit special. There was a late model driver here, Kelly Hampel, who had passed away earlier in 24, and their family has been kind of a staple as far as racing goes in the Billings area. There's been a couple different racetracks since they started racing, but ended up being the Kelly Hampel Memorial Weekend. It was a big late model deal. They put up a big payout and stuff, and it was our open show. And so for my first win, I actually beat an ASCS 360 to get my first win. So that was kind of rad to be able to, I guess, know that being kind of underpowered and overweight, that it really came down to the driver aspect. As the track was pretty slicked off, but um, the guy driving it, Junior Williams, he's out of Texas, but he's been driving with the ASCS Elite Non-Wing guys. Well, I guess it's not Power I, but he's run with those guys for a long time. So I was expecting him to kind of just dog walk us with just having that much more experience on a slick track with a bigger motor, and ended up kind of working out in my favor that it was one lane around the bottom, and I kind of just hogged it the whole race once I got up there. Um,
Yep.
but we run with 305s now and stuff, and so my second win this year beat a couple 305s and some of the 604s and stuff, and it was actually a really good hooked up track. So it felt good knowing that the car was in the right place, and I was able to kind of do my job as the driver, knowing that I can't really lift or I'm going to lose all my momentums.
Yeah, yeah. So the Wisconsin Wingless is a 604 motor platform, and they allow 602s. 602s can come off the corner harder than the 604s. Not like the pole, but if you watch the torque curve and the horsepower and all that stuff, the 602s come off the corner better than a 604, but the 604 has more legs and net Michael's seen it. Wilmot is all momentum, even though it's shaped like a paper clip. It's all momentum. So it'd have to be super dry for the 602 to start working up the field. So that's a very good accomplishment to beat some 604s and 305s. What is your actual motor rule package up there?
So they opened it up after the first year. We got up to 11 cars, which was the first night of our open show last September. And then there was a wreck, and we only ended up with, I think, 7 or 8 that finished the race and then started the Saturday show. So we've averaged about 8, 9 cars the last 2 years. And the goal was some of the mod guys and stuff that maybe wanted to move up and couldn't afford to go 360 racing. You got your motor, you got your pumps and all that stuff. You buy a roller for, $6,000 or so, whatever you can get, and, throw it together, and you got yourself a sprint car. And unfortunately, we didn't have a whole lot of guys that were doing it. We had a couple guys that kind of moved up. So we had a meeting of the class last year, and we kind of went over some stuff, and they were like, we're going to open up the rules a little bit. We're going to allow the Race Saber 305s with a hard card in. They allow the Rocky Mountain motor, which is like a restricted steel box, steelhead 360 class that runs kind of in Canada and Great Falls out here.
Okay.
And then an open 2-barrel motor, which is kind of more pertaining to the LS guys, is what they were kind of going for.
Okay.
And then the 602, 604s, GM seals, we can run a 4-barrel, maximum of 1.25 inch spacing and stuff like that. This first year, the 604s had to run 50 pounds of lead in the front of the car to make up for the horsepower difference, which didn't really matter because the 604, well, it was kind of a battle. The guy that won the championship, he ended up winning about 4 races. And my teammate at the time was running a 602. He had like 3 or so, I think. But since then, they've let the 604s take the weight off. And it's kind of evened out now. Usually it's anybody's night. The only difference is if you're not running a crate motor, you have to run a Race Saber right rear is kind of the main difference.
Nice. That'll show them. You have to run a cheaper right rear there. Yeah.
And then no cockpit adjustable shocks, and no gas shocks, but we can run adjustable shocks. No bleeders. No rotating titanium weight, so you can't have titanium bolts or anything in the wheels. You can't have the tie brakes or anything like that. They haven't
tiebreaker for rated. I should have had
they
that
haven't
in last week.
they haven't mandated fire suppression yet, but I imagine that's going to be coming up here pretty soon. I actually I bought a couple kits off Speedway and they ended up being not the right ones. So now I have 4 fire extinguishers that I can't use. So I'm gonna try to have to maybe give them to the mod guys or something. The basically it's got like the actual handle on it. It's not like the true Lifeline sprint car one where it's just got the nozzle on the end. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I haven't been able to figure out a way to mount it to where the handle's not going to get hit or something like that. So I might try to play around with that a little bit more. But and then the biggest thing is the weights. So if you're on a 602 or a 604, minimum weight for us is 1,400 pounds. The 305s have to be 1,500. The open class is 15 or 1,550, and then the Rocky Mountains are 1,600, I think.
Oof.
So far
Is
we've
any
only had.
is
Go ahead.
anyone at minimum weight with the 602 at 1,400 pounds?
No. So the lightest I've weighed is 1625.
Okay. Michael, you don't have to
Mhm.
answer this, but like CJ is probably one of the lightest guys in the wing cars, like, but he's not at 15, was it 1575 or whatever for the wing 604s?
No. We added lead, and we have to run with a very full tail tank.
Okay. Okay. But still, the 602s are steel head, so okay, yeah, I would hate to have a 602 because I'd be
Mhm.
like, I can go so light, but I can't run titanium to get
Well,
the
I
weight
mean,
all the way down.
honestly, if I was to spend all the money and full tie out the car and everything, I mean, I'm still 300 pounds. So it to me,
Yeah,
it's not even worth it. But I've
yeah,
also I've also proven that being, a little overweight that I can still kind of get it done. So I get a little satisfaction out of that, knowing that some of the lighter guys more of the ideal sprint car build, and they kind of maybe are able to make a little bit closer to their minimum weight and whatever, that I can still outrun them if I show up and the car's good enough. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Because I don't even
But
think I could get enough fuel in my tank to put as much weight that you're putting in over your rear end when it gets dry.
yeah, I
Because
don't.
you're just that's the positive of being a heavier driver is when a track gets slick, you're putting a lot of weight in the rear of the car to get forward drive.
Yeah, if I could figure out what forward drive is on the slick track, that'd be very cool. So, um,
When you know,
no,
let me know, please.
there's been a few nights where I've done good. Like the night that I won, the next night I finished ninth because the track went really dry on us, and it was kind of my first experience on a true dry slick track, and it was super frustrating just from a driver's standpoint that I wasn't able to at least make the car kind of work, because I was the only car that got lapped that whole weekend. And it was just it was one of those things where how do you go from being a hero to a zero in literally one night. And since then I've argued with some people and I tell them kind of what I'm trying to do with my setup, and they're like, you're dumb basically. I'm like, well, the only way for me to learn is you got to let me figure out how to translate this stuff to what I understand, and then I can kind of start making adjustments and kind of get the car going in the right direction. But um even though I my knowledge isn't quite there yet, I've won on my own setup twice now, so I got to be doing something right.
Yeah. And what you just said about going from hero to zero that fast, you can go from zero to hero just as fast. That's what I love
Mhm.
about sprint car racing. Um, where do you want racing to take you?
So, with my mentality towards it, I show up every night to win. Um, I don't want to be a local guy forever. I definitely I want to run USAC full time as my end goal. And a lot of people are kind of like, well, don't you think you're taking this a bit too serious for just your third year in the car? And I'm like, yeah, but if I don't, what does that mean? It's kind of still somewhat affordable, but it still hurts the pocketbook every now and then. And if I'm gonna just waste money, I may as well go down to a different class or stop racing. I could definitely spend my money elsewhere.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, my ultimate end goal is I would love to run USAC full time as a job. That's what I want to be as a driver. Um,
Nice.
on my own dime would be ideal, but I highly doubt it. And unfortunately, in my opinion, if you don't bring accolades and wins to the table, you're not going to be considered. I think some of the guys that may have a little bit of money to bring with their own sponsors or something kind of help out a lot. But if I was a owner and looking for a new driver, I want the guy that's got a proven track record, that's there to win every night. And so that's where I would like to go with this anyway.
Yeah, I heard if you are in the Illinois, Indiana area, it's about 150K a year out of if you're going to run a house car, and that's again like what you want to do, like right rear tire, brand new right rear tire on every night, like doing it right. Because that's another thing. Like you could be a full-time USAC driver with a 360 and you just make the tour with them, right?
Yeah.
But at that point, you're spending all that money with the travel. So yeah, why not go big? All right, I like that. I'm gonna have to. When we were at Plymouth, I got a Zach Hampton shirt, and they're like, "What? You didn't get a Bill Baylog shirt?" I'm like, "He's already famous." You got to get the shirts. Like I still have the hoodie I wore to Plymouth was my Logan Schuhart Pels sponsored car when they were running out of that broken down trailer. Like when they were at Wilmot, I went and bought one. Love it. So I'm like, no, you got to get them before they go famous. So I got to get me a Jake Dewitt shirt. Let's see. What do you do for work? That's my wife's favorite question I ask on the podcast to drivers because she just likes to know what people do for a living.
Currently, I'm in between jobs. I had a good setup going. I was working for a battery store out here until February this year, and they kind of brought in some new management, and I wasn't really liking the way that they were looking to do things, and they weren't understanding the full scope of what we had going on. And so I ended up leaving, and then I was working for Lowe's out here for a little bit, and decided that wasn't for me, so I ended that. So currently I'm unemployed, as bad as that is to say. But
Perfect time to go full-time USAC racing.
Yeah, I wish if I had the
time-wise.
If I had the backing or the money myself, I'd love to hit the road. And the thing with me is I'm very low budget. I do have a lot of partners on the car. Some of them I don't have necessarily money coming in, but I have some other stuff worked out, whether it's sponsor and hero card design or printing, or like my buddy Anthony out of California with Fully Deleted Company. We have the discount code that people can use to get 10% off their purchase online. So I'd like to say 85 to 90% out of my own pocket. And to me, it's important because then I know that one, I don't really have anything to be kind of tied to. Like I don't have any obligations. Like, yeah, the name's on the card, but it's not like he gave me, 10 grand to go make sure I'm at every race or something like that. But with that comes the kind of cons where I'm running on used tires every night. The shocks that I have aren't exactly new, and I'm pretty sure the ones in the car, except for the left rear, don't even have the correct valving anymore because they're so old or they've been used for so long. And so I've learned to kind of work with what I have, but also appreciate that one day, if I can land, a big partner, or if I have the opportunity to go racing with good equipment, that I know what it's like to not have the best equipment. Like most of my money is in the safety gear and, some other stuff like decent wheels, stuff like that. But it's just kind of one of those things, I guess, of when you run with a bunch of junk and you start to kind of progress and learn that the new parts help out a little bit depending on what you do and what you get. And if you can get to a point where you're running all brand new stuff and you're running junk stuff, it all wrecks the same, which unfortunately I've experienced that too many times. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That's what I tell new people that get into it. Like, what car should I get? I'm like, get like a 2010 blah 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 chassis that's on marketplace. Get pro single valve shocks. Get the right wheel offsets. Buy used tires. Why? Because you'll be out there. You'll be getting laps, and then when you not if you but when you do something stupid, then you wadded a car that's a C plus B minus grade, not like you went out and bought a Keith Coons used chassis and you wad up a $3,000 CSI shock package because you wheel hop going into the turn for your first right. So yeah, I always feel like, Michael, when do you feel like the right year of racing is to like really start to like put a lot of money into your car?
I don't base it off a year. I base it off progression, off performance. I think when you get to that point where you are exceeding what your equipment allows you, or you like let's face it, there's guys out there that have cars that they're never going to win a race. Like it's even if the stars line perfectly, they're going to run third. When you get to that point where you can't do better with the equipment you have, then I think it's time to look into nicer equipment or upgrading the car you have currently. Just I feel that if you get a B minus C plus car, like you said, to the point where it cannot get better, the only way you're going to get better is with better equipment. So that's kind of always the rule of thumb I've lived by. I mean, I didn't, when I was still racing, I ran a cheap car for my first year, and I knew that at the end of my first year, I wasn't going to do better than what I was doing. So we went out, we bought a newer, nicer car, and it took my race to the next level. And then went and got another newer, nicer car, and then that's we started winning. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the rule of thumb I've always lived by.
Yeah. You're gonna get there, Jake. We believe in you. You got this. And then the last question that I have for you is: do you remember your first lap in a race car? When, where, how did it feel?
So first lap in a race car would have been May 20th, 2023, and didn't I don't know. I'm probably gonna get cooked for this whole interview, which is totally fine with me, I guess. But
It's okay. We get cooked too. Don't worry about it.
I'm really big. Like, when it snows out here, pretty much I'm on World of Outlaws, and so kind of having an understanding through the game, not necessarily iRacing, but getting a general idea of kind of what to expect. I know that may sound kind of weird. It helped a little bit, obviously being new and not knowing what to do at all. The first lap was definitely interesting. Starting third and there's only two cars ahead of me and that's it. There's nobody else on the track. So knowing that I'm not going to get run over or be in anybody's way necessarily. And, that green flag dropped and I stood on the gas and it kind of threw me back in the seat a little bit. It's just 602 crate motor, but it's still a lightweight car, and that power to weight kind of does come into effect a little bit, and it was just kind of just interesting, entering the first turn and not really expecting or knowing what's going to happen, just kind of praying that the car's going to stick in the corner and make it through. And after that first lap, it felt like not a weight lifted off my shoulders, but a kind of an affirmation to myself that I can do this, and as long as I don't be dumb and run into anybody or try to wreck myself or whatever, if I can just make some consistent laps around the bottom, I should be okay. And I think that's ultimately what I ended up doing. Just roll the bottom, and it wasn't super consistent on the throttle. Obviously, I didn't know what to expect or anything, but I'd say first race compared to, the most recent race is extensively like different. We I get on the throttle now and I kind of have an idea of what the car is at least going to do on the start coming off four, and I already have a game plan entering one, and just kind of looking back and picturing that first race and the first couple races of my first year versus kind of the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I think as a driver, I've really progressed extensively, at least in my own opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't like me and wouldn't agree, but I also don't care. Um,
We need drivers
but
to hate too. We need drivers to like to hate.
yeah, and that's fine. I've there was an incident the first race. There's been some comments about me taking out the leader, and I've learned to, whatever they want to say about it is fine. I have the trophy on my kinship counter, and they don't. So,
Mhm.
um,
And they're talking
you know,
about you.
well, bad publicity is still good publicity.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
still getting your name out there, and I don't want to be that guy. I try not to drive like a dickhead or anything. I try to keep it as clean as possible, but in racing, things are going to happen that you can't really control, and I think that was just one of those moments where I had a really good run coming into four, and he kind of hit the slick, and he started to go around, and I had nowhere to go, and ended up tagging him. And I mean, it wasn't like I junked his car and I didn't put myself in the wall, and he had 11 laps to catch me and he couldn't do it. So that's how I look at it anyway. But
Yeah.
I even looking at, kind of the pictures and stuff throughout the year, just being able to see the progression of my car handling and kind of seeing the angle of the car and the attitude, and seeing, the car getting kind of leaned over on the left finally, or it's buried on the right rear, and stuff like that. It's really awesome to be able to kind of, I guess, look back, even though it's been such a short time. Like, I've only got 21 races, and it feels like I've been racing for 5 years, honestly. And um, it's just, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's awesome to see the self growth, I guess, and know that what started out as just kind of a pipe dream to run a sprint car to being where I am today, and knowing that I have the potential to win races, and that I have won races. Um, it makes me look forward to the future of one day hopefully being able to do it as my job and being a driver of a sprint car.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that was our interview with Jake, Dewitt, Big Pappy, Cupcake, Dewy, Alpha Wolf, whatever nickname you want to call him by. That was fun. It's been a while since I interviewed. That was fun. Got kicked off the old rust there. So we'll take an ad break. On the other side, we're going to be talking biggest sprint car fan bases and what's coming up this weekend. When the shop nights get long after a great result, or even a tough night at the track, or even like right now during this episode, nothing hits the spot like a cold Sprecher root beer. But it doesn't stop there. Sprecher's lineup goes way beyond the classic. My personal favorites are the Door County Cherry Soda and the Honeycrisp Apple Soda. And there's still more amazing flavors I haven't even tried yet. Sprecher's Root Beer has been crafting award-winning soda and beer since 1985, right here in Glendale, Wisconsin. Stop in for a brewery tour, sample the goods, experience the local flavors. And don't forget, November 17th, we're back in the Sprecher Tap Room for our second annual Benchies Award Night. It's a perfect excuse to check them out. Now that this ad is wrapping up, I have cracked open another Sprecher soda, and I'm ready to talk more racing with you. All right, welcome back to the Bench Racing Podcast. This weekend at Wilmot is a somewhat of a doubleheader. They are racing Saturday, June 14th, but also running on Monday, June 16th. So June 14th is a Father's Day special. 13 and up is $17. Kids 12 and under are free. Pit passes are $30. Don't forget the Wilmot season pass for the grandstands. Still a lot of racing to go, so it's worth it. Classes this weekend are lightning sprints, the Wisconsin wingless, street stocks, and bandits. Event times pits open at 2, gates 4 p.m., hot laps at 5:45, and racing starts at 6:45. Again, that's Saturday. And then Monday is the Dirt Car Summer Nationals with the dirt car late models. General admission $27, which is 13 and up. Kids 12 and under free. Pit pass is $35. Classes, obviously the late models. Street stocks were added, so that's cool that they kind of have a double header for the lack of events that they have at Wilmot. Modifieds are in there as well. Pits open at 2, gates open at 4, hot laps at 5:45, and racing starts at 6:45. I almost was like, hey guys, we got to make our bets on the late models, thinking it was the World of Outlaw late models, which I'm glad I didn't do that because it's dirt car. Circle City Steel Box ran on Friday, June 6th. Rain hit, but they got their qualifying in the 2 heat races in. So your Group 2 fastest qualifier was Cody Fedley out of California and Steve Irwin out of Michigan. And then your heat race winners, Trace Mailer from Illinois and Steve Irwin. So Trace picking up the heat race win. The next race for the American Sprint Car Tour is this Saturday, June 14th, 15th, 14th. There we go, June 14th at Montpelier. Again, fingers crossed the engine's done so we can go run that. Haven't heard anything, but hopefully no news is good news with the engine builder. All right, now we'll do our bets. Yeah, let's do our bets. So I had the best one last week. Michael had the worst, but we will make sure that our guest can go first. So thank you, Michael. Jake, you don't know anybody, so this is going to be fun to see who he thinks is fast by name. So Jake, who do you think is going to finish the best out of the bandits on June 14th?
Out of the bandits, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Sorry, give me a second. I had this pulled up.
Oh, you're good. You are good. It wasn't like I just stumbled over half of my words the last 3 minutes. You are fine.
So, I don't know. I mean, looking at points here, they only have 7 guys, which is wild because there was it looked like at least 15 in the last race. But
Michael, do you want to explain why that is?
Yeah. Okay. So at Wilmot Raceway, you have to have a membership to accrue points.
I
So
see.
if you don't pay for the membership, you do not accrue points. So
Straight to jail.
Yeah, your best. Realistically, you have 2 that are probably the best options. One is in the points, one is not.
One is in the points, one is not, huh?
Yes.
Actually, I would say there's 2 guys not in the points.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say there's 2 in the points. I think there's a dark horse.
Yeah, there is, and because I'm going last, I'm probably gonna have to pick the dark horse.
I think I'm gonna take him just for fun.
I think I don't know. I this might be. I hope he runs weekly, but Craig Cruiser out of Kenosha.
Craig Cruiser, where is he? Cruiser. Yeah, that's a good shout.
He'll probably be racing because Blake won't be running the sprint car.
Okay, there we go. Michael.
Yeah, I'm feeling bold here. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take my dark horse. I'll leave you guys Tiny Horse and Hot Wheels Dave. Give me Kevin Chasen.
Kevin Chasen.
That car's fast, dude. Like I'm hoping that this next night is the night that like he really nails down how to complete the passes. But he ran down Hot Wheels Dave opening night. Like that car has.
Yeah, he did. He did. Oh man, so Beth picked 2 because she was going second, and I was like, Michael might pick her first one. So she picked her first pick was Austin Orth.
I was looking at him and I thought about it, but I was like, I don't know, man. Based on his previous results, it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, first career win was the last race out that he was at. So she's gonna say back to back for Orth, which leaves me with Hot Wheels Dave and Tiny Horse. Oh, and I figured one of them would at least been gone, if not both, because I was ready for chasing. Oh man. All right. You know, I saw him at the tractor pull. I gotta go. I gotta go Tiny Horse. Ryan Johnson. I keep calling him Ralph Johnson for whatever reason. I'm gonna go with Ryan Tiny Horse Johnson. All right. So to recap, we got Jake here with Cruiser, Beth with Orth, Michael with Chasen, and myself with Johnson. So we'll see who wins that. And obviously I mean, was your Michael yours, you were not going Cruiser, right? So you got your first pick.
So, well, no. So actually, on my list over here, if I decide to go with like like one of the quote favorites,
Mm-hmm.
I had Tiny Horse down, but underneath them I had Cruiser and Chasen. If
Okay.
if Jake didn't take Craig, I probably would have taken him.
Oh, okay. Lou. All right. So this is going to be a barn burner for many different reasons. One, because they're the bandits and they put a heck of a show on. Again, if you can get by that, they're not going 130 miles an hour into the corner. They are awesome. All righty. Now to go into our last little topic here, biggest sprint car fan base. Bringing this up because of just the Wisconsin fan base at Plymouth, and it's my first time at the World of Outlaws just as a spectator on the Grandstand side since 2016. So it's been a hot minute, and a lot has changed. Let me tell you, because the Wisconsin people love their drivers. So, what would you say the top 3 sprint car fan bases by state is?
I would say you're running a tight battle between the posse.
Mhm.
Obviously, I mean, between your Wisconsin guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would say the third is your Hoosiers. I think the Indiana
Oh.
fans are very passionate as well. California fans are very dedicated too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those 3 are bigger than California.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Those
Okay.
are those are
Okay.
those are fighting words.
All right, Jake. Who do you think are the top 3 biggest fan bases by state?
By state, man. Honestly, you sent me this, and I've been thinking about it, and it's still a tough one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that I pay a lot of money for Dirt Vision and Flow and everything, but I often find myself too lazy to even watch the races. But just based off of what I know, for sure, Pennsylvania, obviously, those guys get really into it. You got the Beer Hill Gang and stuff, and they're very dedicated to sprint car racing, which is awesome to see. Um, I don't know about the Hoosier State. I mean, I feel like as far as non-wing racing, Indiana, 100% is hands down the state to be in. Um, but I feel like California is got to be on that list, man. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's weird because you have different sections, right? You have your Northern California race, and you got Central, and you have your Southern. And there's different vibes at different areas. I think the Chico fan base is probably the best.
Okay.
Um, but you get into Placerville can be pretty good sometimes. But you get into like Stockton or Antioch, and those guys can kind of get with the program occasionally, and then you get to like Bakersfield or Kern, Paris, Ocean, stuff like that. But like by state, I think just because of Chico, they would have to probably be. I'd probably go Pennsylvania, California, and then probably Iowa.
This dude's not even gonna mention Wisconsin. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but you know what? I don't know. I don't know much about like I try to keep up with some of it, but I don't know enough about it. This is
Yeah.
just based off of kind of what I
Yeah.
understand and what I know. I would probably have to go Pennsylvania, California, Iowa.
Iowa. Okay. All right.
I'll tell you what. Anytime Bill Baylog crosses and his name's announced, you can hear Wisconsin cheering for him in California.
Yeah. Well,
I don't hear Californians cheering for douchebag Justin Sanders.
Hey, whoa!
I completely forgot about him. We got talking about California so much.
Why is Justin catching the strays, man?
I hate Justin Sanders.
Wait, as soon as you said that, you said Justin Sanders, I'm like, oh, that's a guy I should have mentioned.
I hate Justin Sanders.
Okay. So hold on here. Okay, pump the brakes. Take about 10 to 20% off there, Squirrely Dan. God damn. So I will say that Justin can be a bit rough. Okay, I'm not denying that, but he is a top 5 California sprint car driver at any time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%. He's one of the top guys.
I disagree. I can name out 5 right now that'll beat him every day of the week with their eyes closed.
That are in California though?
That are Californians.
Not Californians. They have to be currently in California. You can't name these national guys or guys that are touring out of state.
See, that rests my case though. Justin Sanders.
I said top five
Justin
California
Sanders
drivers.
Is not good enough to leave California. He got that ride with Swindell and he sucked.
Whoa!
And anytime the national tours come in, what does he do? He wrecks somebody. Corey Day called him out in victory lane while he was doing his bows and this and that, and his little finger motions to the crowd because they were booing him.
Oh my goodness. Beth's gonna be proud of you, Michael, because she's like, Michael better bring the spice, and I think you did.
That's absurd, man.
So real quickly, so back to the Wisconsin crowd real quick, okay? Sitting in turn 4, third row up, like 2 sections in. So great spot. And Plymouth, the chute is actually in front of the grandstands and between the grandstands and the track. So they fire off there, right? Rico Abreu. Noise. People making noise. Buddy Coy Floyd. Meh. Tyler Courtney. Little bit. Carson Macedo. Nothing. Brad Sweet. Nothing. Hoddenchild. Got a bunch. Baylog. Eruption. Tanner Thorson. Nothing. Donnie Schatz. Nothing. Chris Wyndham. Nothing. Garrett Williamson. Nothing. Like Emerson Axum. Nothing. Logan Schuchart. Nothing. Anthony Macri. Nothing. Big names, right? Huge names. Nothing. Kyle Larson got a decent amount, not Bill Baylog. And then because it was Friday night and Travis Aarons won the night before, first time he got shoved off, dude, everyone was screaming louder than Baylog. Right?
I thought the speakers on my TV were gonna blow.
Right? Then Scotty Thiel, who lives in Sheboygan,
got booed. Probably
nothing. Because Aaron's just won and Baylog. Like those are like the state of Wisconsin were resting on those wing supports of those 2 cars. So I want to go back and actually listen to that, to the broadcast from Plymouth, because I watched a little bit of Beaver Dam, but I didn't really hear as much. But then I know that the mic is a lot farther away at Beaver Dam than it is at Plymouth. So so because of that, I think the Wisconsin fan base beat the Posse, they beat California, they beat Indiana. I would say that the Wisconsin fan base is the top. However, just because it's the top doesn't mean it's great when you're representing Wisconsin, because if you suck, Thiel, They don't care, and you're literally that's your back home, that's your backyard track. Nobody cared, so they're ruthless, and they'll let you know if you mess up. Now drivers, the posse I think can still outrun the outlaws in the high limit, but Wisconsin drivers are starting to run top three and getting the random win every now and then, like Baylog and Travis Aarons, and Theo runs really good sometimes too. So yeah, interesting. Wow. Okay.
I just want to say though that you get more booze because the California boys are dominating sprint car racing. Just saying. You can hate us. You can hate us all you want. You can say our fans ain't nothing. But when you got Rico and unfortunately Sweet and unfortunately Larson and even Grant and Leary, I believe. Yeah, Leary's from Sutter. You got all these guys that are on national circuits. That California sucks and it's terrible and whatever. But you can't deny that we produce solid drivers, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, so but here's the funny thing. But here's the funny thing, real quickly. Okay, we have Kyle Larson, one of the greatest drivers in racing history. Debatable, right? Debatable. Dude, Wisconsin would burn if Wisconsin produced a Kyle Larson. If anyone talked crap, we'd burn their house down.
I want to clarify something.
Oh boy! Can't wait to hear this.
I am forever thankful for California for the production of drivers, except Justin Sanders.
Wow, that is crazy work, man. I have to say, absurd that out of nowhere, Justin Sanders is just catching strays.
Oh no, I'm the guy. Like when High Limit and Outlaw go on their California swing, I will flip the TV off when Justin Sanders appears.
Oh wow. That is some strong hatred, man.
I will say hatred. I promise you, it is a hatred.
I will say I want to circle back to that first win. That I guess I've heard rumblings from not the other team themselves, but from people who've talked to them that it's not necessarily how I quote unquote drove the night. It's just the fact that I'm from California is why they don't like me.
I mean, so there's some immature fans out there that will stereotype you, of course. If you're from California, you pretty stereotype the Midwest, right? We're all farmers, but we're not, right? We're all dairy farmers or whatever. So, California has their issues, but if Justin Sanders was from Illinois, I would hate him more. Let me just tell you that.
I agree.
Well, when I think of the Midwest, I think of Race Central, man. Like, if you move to the Midwest or you're somewhat centrally located and you want to go racing, the opportunities are endless. Like, there's a bunch of tracks in California and Oregon and Washington and throughout the country, but like hands down, even Wisconsin and even in Michigan, like if you want to go racing, you have to have the drive. And it kind of baffles people when they're like, you moved to Montana to go racing, and I'm like, hey man, when the opportunity arises, like wherever it is, I don't care. I'm gonna go if I can.
Got to.
And the end goal is I would love to move to Indiana. I don't know if it'll ever be in the cards, but if I can move closer to the Midwest and know that my options kind of open up even more, then I would 100% take that deal if I could.
Oh yeah. Wow. This episode is great. We hate California, apparently.
Love it. I love California. I hate Justin Sanders.
You're gonna have that on those big jobs, I guess, especially if your name's Justin Sanders.
Oh man, I hope CJ doesn't run Sander wheels.
No,
they run TJ. They run TJs.
Man.
I hope Justin Sanders has a wonderful season, cherry picking 360 victories because he's too untalented to win a 410 race.
Wow, that's absurd, man. I don't know if I can tolerate the Justin Sanders slander here, man.
Hey, Wisconsin is passionate about sprint car racing, and I'm proving it.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm by myself here, man, and I'm trying to stand up for California, but I'm just getting berated over here by the cheeseheads, you know?
Oh man. Okay. All right. We're gonna take our final break, and then when we come back, we are playing back and forth California versus Wisconsin.
This has just turned into a state battle, apparently.
Celebrating 55 years is FHS Superior Synthetic Racing Oil, which we are very proud to be using in our sprint car. Why is our first engine, our flathead Briggs & Stratton engine, on the table? Well, we have been using FHS in our go-kart engines way back in the day, the Hurricane Light, and it is amazing. It takes the moisture out of the oil with the alcohol engines, and we are very happy that we are partnered with FHS Superior Synthetic Oils in our sprint car racing engines now. We are using the high performance 15W50 weight oil, which is compatible with gasoline, diesel, alcohol, nitro, and nitrous oxide, and it is a very good product, and we highly recommend it to everyone in sprint car racing, but also go-kart racing. They also have two-stroke engine oil, four-stroke engine oil, automotive products, gear oil, high-performance racing oil, as well as smokeless motor oil. So if you don't want to be smoking, so check out FHS Superior Synthetic Racing Oil. Now back to green. All right, welcome back to the Bench Racing Podcast. We are gonna play back and forth. The rules are simple. I have 21 answers to this question. Michael and Jake will be going back and forth, working as a team to try to get every answer off the list. They get one hint each, and after that, if they get it wrong, they are out, and the other person wins. So in this day and age, we have a lot of AI going around, right? Artificial intelligence, chat GBT, all that good stuff. Teslas are driving themselves. So I figured, you know what, might as well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I asked chat GBT, what are the top 20 dirt tracks in the US? Now Beth was supposed to be on here, so we can't divide 20 by 3. So I put a wild one in here because I thought it should be on here, but it wasn't. But I will let you know if you guys hit the wild for that one. Okay. When you guys ask for a hint, I will be telling you the states that the tracks are still left. So you ask for a hint, the other person's going to get a free hint. So, but it's going to be fun because I did it twice and it was almost exactly the same. So I feel pretty confident in this one. Okay. We are going to start off with Jake.
Oh, thanks. Jake. Top 20 dirt tracks in the country, right?
In the country, yes.
Tulare got to be on there.
And Michael won.
How is the Tulare Thunderbolt not a top 20 track in the country?
Wow. Okay.
I love Tulare, but asking
again, chat GBT. Yeah.
All right. Well, chat GPT doesn't know shit about anything. So how, come on.
I'm actually, now that, because as I'm writing these down, I'm like, oh yeah. But all right, we're going to restart. We'll restart. Jake, go.
No, it's fine. Wisconsin can win. That's totally fine. Once again, California is the brunt of the joke here, apparently.
Surprisingly, though, there is only one on here.
Are you kidding me? I think
seriously, yeah, I'm serious.
I think I know which one it is.
One California.
Again, when I asked dirt tracks, I didn't specify only sprint cars, so that could have been why. But most of these are basically all of them sprint cars on there.
If I get this wrong, I don't want it to knock me out, but I think I might know what California track. Is it Ventura?
No, it's not.
It's Silver Dollar, isn't it?
Silver Dollar. There you go. We'll give you that one.
Gold Cup.
Silver Dollar's on there.
That's my next racing vacation. Gold Cup.
That's the thing is Trophy Cup at Tulare, man.
I know.
But oh well.
All right, Michael.
All right, let's see how many of these things I can name here.
Well, just do one at a time. One at a time.
Oh, he's still gonna guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're starting over. We're starting over. He jumped to start. We're calling that back.
All right. Well, I'll start with the obvious one, Knoxville.
Not all right. Yeah. So sorry. Silver Dollar is number 11 on the list. Knoxville is number 2 on the list. Jake.
Number 2.
Yeah, that was number 2 on the list.
Eldora.
Eldora is number 1.
Suck it.
Jake or Michael.
Williams Grove.
Williams Grove, number 3 on the track, on the list. Jake.
Volusia.
Volusia, number 4 on the list. Michael.
This is my favorite track, and I don't want to fall on this horse. I'll save it.
Yeah, save it.
Give me Port Royal.
Port Royal is number 6 on the list. Jake.
Huset's.
Huset's.
Is it there?
Or as Jimmy calls it, Hussets on the World of Outlaw Online. Number 15 on the list.
That was the one that I was just about to
Debating.
say. Yep.
Debating.
Sorry. Once again, California's just better.
Give me Fairbury.
Fairbury, number 7 on the list.
Oh, okay. We're getting into like the late model territory here. There's only one California. You already got Williams and Port. Is I don't know. This one probably not. Attica.
Attica, number 16
Let's go.
on the list. Michael.
Boone.
That's the one I knew only you would get. And Boone
well,
is number 14 on the list.
He's not the only one that would have get it. I was, working my way across the country.
Sorry, when I made this game, I made this like 2 weeks ago before you asked. So I was like, Beth won't get this one.
So you got Knoxville and Boone in Iowa. I don't really know that there's another track out there.
If you want a hint, I can give you some states.
No, because then I lose my hint.
Yeah. Well, I can do it this way too. Instead of listing all of the states left, I can list you a state that has multiple.
No, just hold on here. Let's see.
I was about to say, don't Google.
Is I don't know, man. This is kind of a long shot because I'm not 100%. What about Charlotte?
Charlotte is number 5 on the list. So on the list that's left is 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 17, 18, 19, 20, and the Wild.
Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil is number 10 on the list.
It's a good one. I'm hoping this is your Wild just because, but Beaver Dam?
No, it is
Damn it.
not. So Michael won twice.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
All right, Michael, you're the winner. What can we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 left. Can you list them all?
Do I inherit his hint now?
No.
I'm actually surprised that there was only 2 called from this one state, and there's multiple from this one state. More.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think.
Two left from the state.
I'm trying to think of like the prestigious events because I feel like if you're asking AI, it's gonna base it off of like the prestigious races. That's what made me say Fairbear. That's what made me say Boone.
Okay.
What's that track in Illinois?
I can tell you that there's no more tracks in Illinois, so
Okay.
you don't have to hurt your head.
All right.
Is that his hint? That's his hint, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then here's.
Wait, whoa! I didn't ask for a hint here.
Technically, it was a question.
I'll give you one. There's one in our state.
141.
No.
You're out. You lose.
Oh,
Get
Cedar Lake.
Cedar Lake. Yeah. Cedar
Oh,
Lake.
damn. Wow.
All right.
I was thinking 141 because of the big
The creek and the king of the creek,
Clash of the
all
Creek
the
and everything.
yeah, all the creek stuff that they got.
Macon's not on there.
Macon's not on there. Nope. All right. So I will list off all the names on this list of tracks that AI said. Lincoln Speedway in PA.
I was just thinking that one actually.
Bristol Motor Speedway Dirt. I-55 in Missouri. Baps Motor Speedway in PA. Kokomo Speedway in Indiana. Bubba Raceway Park in Florida. Skagit Speedway in Washington. And the Wild was the Chili Bowl.
What? That's not a.
Oh, we got to go back on a topic really quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Indiana's not number 3.
Oh, come on. You're going to switch it to okay now? You're going to switch it to Oklahoma?
No,
Okay.
I never thought that I could hear a building erupt the way the Chili Bowl did. When they did the parade of the states parade or whatever it is, and they call it, all the drivers go out by state.
Mm-hmm.
When they got to Oklahoma, the way that place erupted, I had goosebumps. It was insane. Think of Wisconsin cheering for Bill Baylog and multiply it by 30.
Okay. Ooh,
Wait,
okay.
so then you'd have to put the Gateway on there.
The Gateway.
No.
If you're going to put Chili Bowl, you'd have to put the Gateway Dirt Nationals, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the Dirt Nationals and Gateway only started a few years ago. Chili Bowl's been going for a long time.
Hey, whatever, man. That's just
Chili
like
Bowl.
your opinion.
I know. It's the opinion. I know. But again, there's 20, and I was like, I got to divide it by 3, and I'm like, Chili Bowl's not on there. Figure that's going to be on there. If Beth would have picked it, I know she would have picked it.
And let's face it, Gateway's a motocross track. That's not a dirt oval.
That's what makes it so cool, though. Like, everybody goes there knowing they have to continue to build bodies.
Oh, I know what track you're talking about now. You're talking about that one where they run late models in the inside of the thing,
Gateway in St. Louis.
And they
the
wreck,
dome,
and they can't
the
even
dome.
get one lap in the time limit, and then they eliminate everyone. And if I would pissed my money away to enter that and started in the back of a B and only got a half lap at speed, and then they're like, you got to go, I'd be like, no. Now I know what track you're talking about.
Yeah.
They tear down the fence. Late models go through the fence. Yeah. I mean, it's cool for Rex.
you got to remember, he's a Justin Sanders fan, so he's used to seeing stuff get crashed.
Okay, hold on. Now, why am I catching secondary strays from the Justin Sanders slander, man? Come on.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. Hey, you're just lucky Beth's not here. Although she would have been on your team probably from the very, very beginning about how you don't like 4-bangers, so she would have been like backing Justin Sanders up.
Well, so the 4-bangers are annoying, and if they just didn't drive like it was the Daytona 500 every night, then we wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
At least up here, that's all I'm saying. Like, that's just
yeah.
my opinion on the class, but
Oh yeah, it is, and everyone has their opinion, and it's great. And that's if we like the last episode, if we just agreed on everything, it would have been the most boring episode. Like, oh yeah, this is overrated, so underrated. Justin Sanders, oh, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's so great. Okay, next driver. Like,
Piece of shit.
So
You know, I somehow hope that this gets to Sanders and he sees this and sees that I tried defending his name, even though he has no idea who I am.
I hope it gets to Justin Sanders. He says, "You know what? I'm gonna go find that Michael kid. I'm gonna fight him so I can beat his ass."
That's crazy.
Oh man, just be like, where do you live? Be like, I live at Wilmot Raceway. Come fight me on the front chute. That way I don't get kicked out.
Yeah. Make sure you bring your 410 so you can run 13th.
Oh wow, that's unnecessary, man. God, I hope I don't. Whatever Justin did that makes you don't. I hope I don't do that because that I'd fucking hate my life.
Oh man, the best part is Justin has no idea who Michael or I is, and that's fine.
Nope.
It's just talk. It's great. It's great. So that was this episode, and usually I wrap up, but real quickly because we have a guest on, Jake, do you have any sponsors that you would like to thank?
Well, I don't have sponsors. I have partners.
You have partners, okay.
But I'd like to thank Fully Deleted Company, Performance Battery Solutions, Positive Powder Coating, Eagle Printing and Forms, Magic City Custom Works, JJM Performance, Knightsville Motorsports, Guy Racing, RMT Motorsports, Nash Racing, Christian Kinnison and Seaman Racing, Bray Industries, Limitless Concrete, Ghost Promotions. I think that's it. I mean, I have a lot of support in my corner for being just a local driver, and I can't thank everybody enough for continuing to believe in me. It's awesome. The state of Montana, especially just the Billings racing community, they're unlike any I've ever experienced. Like just for instance, this past weekend they had the street stock shootout, and a rookie beat one of the top drivers in the state, and the place just went absolutely nuts. And everyone. You have everyone that few people don't like each other and whatever, but for the most part, everyone's willing to lend a hand wherever they can. And I just would like to give a big shout out to the Big Sky Racing community and all the track workers and everyone that gives us a place to race. When we get to, I'm on a month off stint right now. I don't race till the end of June, but I'm gonna go and support the track this weekend for the Mountain States Modified Tour, and hope to make some out-of-state races here end of this year. But definitely want to thank you guys for having me on. This was fun. I think it went a little bit better than I was expecting. I thought I was just going to get absolutely roasted. If I changed my name to Justin Sanders, I guess I'd be in big trouble.
Change your gamer tag to Justin Sanders.
There's already
You wouldn't make a single lap on the game.
His crew member is 3728. The one guy that can actually give you a run for your money sometimes when he shows on, Garrett. So change your gamer tag to Justin Sanders.
Okay.
No,
well,
the Justin Sanders.
The Justin Sanders. Well, I could change it to whatever. I got a 99% chance to beat anybody on World of Outlaws 24. So if you want it, you can get it.
Yep, there you go. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. It's always fun having you on as a regular. Thank you, Jake, for taking the time. This was again another fun episode. But unfortunately, that's it for this episode of the Banter Racing Podcast. We thank you for spending your time with us, and we look forward to talking more racing next week with you. Until then, peace out, Girl Scout.
Peace.
Peace.
It's the ultimate ride. It's the all night.